Hey everybody, I'm going to walk you through how I edited one of my photos for my Moira shoot completely on my phone. So first I started with Canva. I do have a paid version of this, but you can also do it for free. I decided to just pick a basic Instagram story template because that would give me a good size. And then I uploaded the photo that I wanted to work with directly into there. You can kind of see the other stuff that I've worked on too, but this was the photo that I wanted to work with. I have just adjusted the color a little bit on this, but otherwise it is unedited. It was taken from a slow motion video so that I could get the hair in that position, which is why it is darker. So I wanted to correct some of that and some of the fuzziness in the process. But yeah, just otherwise I wanted to add some special effects. So I will do the first part of the special effects in Canva. And what I did is I also have a subscription to Production Crate, and so I just took one of the single images from one of their special effects, this one here, and decided to put that in because it's super easy because it's already created. It's got a transparent background. You can pick exactly which frame you want. So if I wanted to use a different frame of some special effect, I could do that. And then yeah, just put those in here. I wanted to make sure that they were the right size and everything, so you can resize directly with Canva. Again, this is all done on my phone. A lot of times I will edit on my computer, but for this particular one, I wanted to try to do everything on my phone. I adjusted the transparency a little bit so you could still see my hand, and then also I wanted it to match the kind of color of the photo, so it wasn't so much more vibrant than the photo since the photo is darker. And I wanted to adjust the transparency of the hand or image that's farther back a little bit more than the other, tweaked the color just a little bit. So now I've pulled it into Snapseed here, and this is where I'm going to really start editing the photo itself. So here you can see I am using the exposure brush feature to lighten the hair and also my face. And it's nice because you can use different levels of exposure for different things. So as you can see, my hair was a 0.7 exposure, my face was a 0.3 exposure, and then I can even go in and adjust with the brush tool, like the saturation and things like that. It's really great if you're just trying to alter a certain part of the image. Here you can see I also lowered the exposure on the magic circles because again, those were still really vibrant. I also adjusted the saturation a little bit, lowering that on the circles because again, they didn't seem like they fit the image super well. So by changing the exposure and the saturation on those, then it felt a little bit more like it was a part of the same image. You can do a lot of other stuff with Snapseed. If you're not familiar with it, I highly recommend it. Here I adjusted also little features about my face, like eye clarity, things like that. They have a lot of preset filters that you can apply. I just did an automatic adjust on the photo overall and then went back in and tweaked it a little bit more. So, it's really very flexible as far as what you can do here as far as editing just a basic photo. That's what Snapseed is really good for, is just editing photos, not necessarily adding like special effects or anything like that. Which is why once I was done here, then I opened it up in a new app that I found called PicsArt. PicsArt is also really great for editing photos. You can probably do a lot of the same stuff that I did in Snapseed in PicsArt. I don't know about the brush tool. I haven't found that in PicsArt yet, but they do have a lot of really good preset filters. They have more than Snapseed does, and certainly more than Canva does. So I wanted to go in and apply this filter last to the image because then it was really going, at this point I'm really just trying to tie in the magic spell circles with the photo itself and make it all look like one image. Yeah, you just kind of can scroll through. You can see there's a lot of them. This app does also have a paid feature, so anything that has the little sticker on it that says try is a part of the paid feature only, but there's still a lot of options. So I gave it this filter here so it looked like all one image, like I was actually holding the spells, and then I went in and there's a couple of different options. There's lens flares that you can play with here, so these are all the possible lens flares that you can use. So I went ahead and I picked some that were similar color to the magic circles, and then shrunk them down a little bit. I adjusted the opacity so that it would not block the magic circle. It would just add kind of a nice glow and very subtle effect to it, because I also wanted to add in an additional feature after this. But yeah, I mean, you can go in. I think I even added here 2 different lens flares, and just kind of played around with what worked best, and what looked good. Again, adjusting that opacity down, opacity, I don't know how to pronounce that word, whatever. Adjusting that down so that it just gave it that faint glow. And then another feature that I have really liked with this app is you can add light effects, essentially. So masks, and they've got prisms, they've got lights, they've got, as you can see, like ripples and shadows. There's all kinds of different stuff. There's like funky text ones. So I just wanted to play around with kind of a light effect, just to really add to the aesthetic. And you can see here I'm trying out like a bunch of different ones. So there really are a lot of different options depending on what it is that you're trying to do with your image, that sort of thing. For this particular image, I ended up going with prisms, and you can see I kind of looked through a little bit here, but this was the one that I decided to stick with because it kind of created this nice effect, tying together the 2 magic circles, and then I just adjusted how it looked. I wanted to see if maybe turning it upside down would work, so you can also rotate these a little bit. But ultimately, yeah, I just went back to the original, which was over the top, and tinkered with that and how that looked a little bit until it had exactly the look I was going for. And here you can see there's other ways that you can apply that prism too. So you can have it to, you know, lighten the image or darken the background image. I just went with the normal screen option, which I think is the default for any of these masks. And yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the final look and how it turned out, and I'm super excited about it. So you can just download it from the app. If you don't have a paid version, you'll get a lot of ads, but otherwise it's still pretty easy to use. And there you go.